Hey everybody, this is Bill. It's that time of year, and in this video, we're talking college football. We will provide a link in the description to our preseason top 25 and All-America team, but in this video, we will offer the predicted finish and preview of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Now, the conference appears short of national title contenders, but both divisions have a highly competitive look to them. So let's get things going in the Coastal. In the Coastal Cellar, we have the Duke Blue Devils. After all, we ain't playing hoops. Now, we were sure sorry to see the end of the David Cutcliffe tenure with the Blue Devils, but maybe it was time for some new ideas. Enter Texas A&M defensive coordinator Mike Elko, who will install some toughness with the Blue Devils. Now, only 11 overall starters return, but that includes many in the defensive front seven. Middle linebacker Sheka Hayward and defensive tackle Dwayne Carter lead the unit. Now, there is experience in the running game, but the pass game is inexperienced. It will be interesting to see how Elko approaches this job, which is a monumental task given the apparent void of skill offensively. So we will look to see what Elko does with the Devils, but we're going to find them in the rear of the Coastal this season. At 6th, we have Georgia Tech. Now, a couple seasons back, we thought Jeff Collins had Georgia Tech on a path back to relevance. Tech was even seen scoring some decent recruiting wins in the competitive arenas of Florida and Georgia, but something appears to have gone wrong because the Rambling is looking at future wreckage. First, some of the best players Tech had, most notably potential All-America running back Jahmyr Gibbs, hit the portal. Now, in the aftermath, only 8 overall starters return, so this is a very young team in 2022, but we're not sure Collins has time for growth. Now, quarterback Jeff Sims returns, and he has made some plays, but he's a bit erratic. Top receiver Malachi Carter is back, so that helps. Now on defense, middle backer Charlie Thomas, who's an honors candidate in the conference, he leads that unit. Now the way we see it, Georgia Tech will be favored in 2 games. Tech opens hosting Clemson, so if they could pull that off with Clemson potentially offensively challenged, well, forget that. Even a road trip to UCF looks very troublesome. Collins is really going to need to coach up this group, so let's see what he's made of. At 5th, we have Virginia. Now, the Cavaliers played pretty well last year, winning some close bowl games, and they made a bowl game, only to have it canceled. The success was driven by quarterback Brennan Armstrong, who threw for 31 touchdowns. Now, only 4 offensive starters return, but his top 3 catchers are among them. So if an experienced line and the emergence of an adequate running game are found, the Hoos could score some points. Now, middle linebacker Nick Jackson leads a defensive unit seeking improvement given the barrage of points surrendered by the Hoos in 2021. Now, Illinois is the top team among the non-cons, so there's a chance for a good start. But we think there are way too many holes for Virginia to contend for upper-level divisional finish here in the Coastal. 4th, we have Virginia Tech. Now, Virginia Tech made a coaching change after the underwhelming tenure of Justin Fuentes. Enter Penn State defensive coordinator Brent Fry. He is well respected, and it seems the path ahead for Virginia Tech to reassert itself with a defensive mentality is fitting. The unit may have to carry the Hokies early, as Virginia Tech will have new starters at all offensive skill positions. Caden Moore is a quality player on the inexperienced offensive line, so again, we're going to look to the defense, which returns 7 starters, a talented individual on each level. The secondary, led by Chamari Connor, is the strength of this unit. Now, a Thursday night game in late September in the non-con against an improved West Virginia will be a measuring stick for the Hokies. Resurrecting the Hokies is not a quick fix, but given the schedule, there's potential for Tech to make a bowl game this year. So that would be the goal for us under Brent Fry for Virginia Tech in 2022. We have North Carolina 3rd in the Coastal. Mack Brown returned to UNC and he got the Heels back to national relevance quickly, but Carolina wilted under the pressure last year and disappointed, including a drubbing by South Carolina as an 11-point favorite in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Now, there is optimism for the Heels to rebound in 2022. Legacy quarterback Derek May takes over, and he has an elite weapon at his disposal in wideout Josh Downs, who also excels in the return game. 2 additional experienced receivers return, but a new running back will need to emerge, as will leaders on the offensive line. Now, Miles Murphy leads the defensive unit from his defensive tackle position, and weak side linebacker Cedric Gray returns after leading the team in tackles with 100 in 2021. Now, Carolina plays a dangerous game early at Appalachian State, and they do host Notre Dame, so this schedule is tough. But Brown has recruited well, and it's just a matter of the pieces coming together for the Tar Heels to challenge in the Coastal. We got them third, just outside our preseason top 25. Second, we have defending ACC champion Pittsburgh. Now, with Pitt losing both quarterback Kenny Pickett and offensive coordinator Mark Whipple, one might expect Pat Narduzzi's squad to take a step back from their ACC championship, but we don't expect that. Even with the puzzling transfer loss of award-winning wide receiver Jordan Addison to USC, the Panthers bring back 8 offensive starters, and that includes the top 3 rushers. Now, Pitt has had a very strong receiving core in recent seasons, and the talent is there once again. The offensive line returns in full, with Carter Warren and Marcus Minor potential honors candidates. Now, Keaton Slovis over from Southern Cal is a new quarterback, and if he can elevate his game, we don't see why he can't. The offense should continue to light up the scoreboard. Now, 7 official starters return on the defensive unit. This is led by disruptive All-America candidate Kalijah Cansey at tackle. He was all ACC as a freshman. Everyone took notice of his play. The secondary is quite strong with 3 returning starters. Now, Slovis has no time for rust, and the slate is mighty sketchy out of the gate. Pitt opens at home in a welcomed revival of the backyard brawl with West Virginia. Now, Pitt won the ACC last year, but we don't expect the seas to part in such an advantageous way this season for the Panthers. So we got Pitt 8-4, based on Slovis having a pretty good year. We have the Miami Hurricanes winning the Coastal Division. Now, former Hurricane offensive lineman Mario Cristobal, who after his playing days had a fine career in coaching, left a high-profile spot as head coach at Oregon to come home and help resurrect the Hurricane program, which has never won the ACC since entering, with only one trip, and it was a blowout, to the ACC championship game. Now, Cristobal has always been a fabulous recruiter, and he is one stellar position coach. But he was brought to Miami to win championships. Now, one position he does not have to recruit to pay off in 2022 is quarterback, as sophomore signal caller Tyler Van Dyke returns to guide the Canes. Now, he is outstanding. Now, the Canes do have holes defensively, but there's plenty of young talent on hand. Cover corner Tyreek Stevenson, who came in from Georgia last year, played very well for the Canes, and he's going to be their team leader on defense. And the rest of the secondary is strong as well. Now, the Canes will travel to Aggieland to face a probable top 5 team in Texas A&M. But other than that, this is not an overwhelming schedule, and Miami could potentially finish 11-1. But we doubt they can display that level of consistency for that to occur. Odds are certainly against winning at Clemson, and there are plenty of opportunities to stumble. So we'll go with 9-3 for the Hurricanes. But for the first time in quite some time, they could legitimately be on the way back. And we got them as Coastal champions in 2022. So we have the Miami Hurricanes taking the Coastal Division in 2022. Who will face the Canes in Charlotte in the ACC championship game? Well, let's check out the Atlantic to find out. In the rear over in the Atlantic, we have the Syracuse Orangemen, but they're better than you think. Now, we've always been fans of Dino Babers, but he has got to start winning some ball games over here soon, or he may be shown the door. Although they did improve last year, they were 5-7. It's been rough at Syracuse since Babers and the Orange went 10-3 in 2018. Now, the good news is Syracuse has a potential All-America running back in Sean Tucker, who is special. Do watch this guy if you get a chance. You will appreciate it. There are 9 starters back on offense, including quarterback Garrett Schrader. The top 5 receivers return, so there's promise on the offensive side. Returning on defense is the team's top tackler in 2021, Mikel Jones, who's a top-notch linebacker. Corner Garrett Williams leads an experienced secondary. Now, there are issues up front on the defensive line which are cause for concern, and that's what's going to be holding Syracuse back in our mind. Now, they could be dangerous if some pieces come together, but we may not know it due to their menacing schedule. So, unfortunately, while they are better, we do have Syracuse last place in the Atlantic Division. Boston College is our sixth pick in the Atlantic, but the Eagles have some explosive talent on offense. Now, if healthy, quarterback Phil Jurkovec is a potential NFL player, And Zay Flowers is another national honors candidate at wideout. Now, Flowers remained at BC after overtures from many significant players across the college football landscape. But he honored his commitment to the Eagles. He's our kind of guy right there, Zay Flowers. We'll be pulling for him. Now, there's an additional experience in the receiving and running back room, and BC always has a stout offensive line. So look for some offensive fireworks over here. 8 starters are back on defense, so again, expect the Eagles to stand tall on the stop side. Now, the schedule could allow for a bowl, particularly if BC can beat one or more of its main divisional contenders. This includes a home game with Louisville and road games at Florida State and Wake Forest. BC is capable, but we don't know if there's just enough to get that done. Louisville is 5th, and they're yet another dangerous team with a borderline elite quarterback who can make things happen for sure. Malik Cunningham ran for 20 scores and threw for another 19, so consider him a threat from anywhere on the field. The receiving core is strong, welcoming in a slew of transfers to bolster the group. The Vills got talented running backs and a decent offensive line led by All-America candidate Caleb Chandler. Now expect Louisville to score plenty. 7 starters are back on the stop side, with corner Katre Clark leading the way. Linebacker Yasser Abdullah is the top returning tackler. He was 3rd on the team in stops in 2021. Now Louisville has a tough schedule, opening on the road against the improved Syracuse team we just talked about, and they also go to UCF before welcoming Florida State. Now Pitt, Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, and Kentucky are all preseason ranked teams you'll find on Louisville's very difficult schedule. Therefore, we got them finishing 5th in the Atlantic. 4th, we have Wake Forest. Now, the Demon Deacons were prolific on offense last year, and when you have their scheme up against their outstanding quarterback Sam Hartman, we expect Wake to light scoreboards up in 2022. 9 offensive starters return on offense, headlined, of course, by Hartman, and a tremendous receiving threat, who is another All-America candidate. That's A.T. Perry. Now, Perry is special, especially in the red zone. He hauled in 15 touchdowns last year. The offensive line, the complete offensive line returns. They're not fantastic, but they all do return, should be improved. They're good enough. Now, can Wake win the ACC and make national noise? That's going to remain on the defense. Can the defense step it up a little bit? They were not great last year. Now, the Deeks should be 3-0 when Clemson comes to town. And we think Clemson's a wild card, so we don't know what's going on there. But that does seem on the surface too tall of an order. Next is a very important trip to Florida State, who is a dangerous and improving team. So Wake would really need to win that to have the kind of season that they would consider special. But we got Wake 5-2 before they have to go play NC State, who is just outstanding this year. So put them at 6-3 before hosting North Carolina, and then they've got Syracuse at home and Duke on the road. We got them in the 8-4, 9-3 range, falling just short of achieving another Atlantic Coast Conference championship game berth. But watch out for Wake Forest behind Hartman and Perry. Points should come plentiful. 3rd, we have Florida State. The Seminoles appear improved at almost every level, but notably in the offensive line, an area that's been a huge problem for FSU in recent seasons. This team is now in the hands offensively of quarterback Jordan Travis, and if he can stay healthy, he could have a strong season. The receiving core is much improved, and FSU has a good stable of running backs. The secondary, led by All-America candidate Jamie Robinson, is strong, and the long pedestrian linebacking core looks stronger with the arrival of UCF's top tackler Tatum Bethune. Now, improvement with the specialist and in the return game is also a welcomed expectation. Now, the schedule offers no favors, with Clemson and Florida at home and trips to NC State and Miami. The Noles must win at home over Wake and or on the road at Louisville to really have a great season. But a win on Labor Day weekend in New Orleans over LSU could spearhead the Seminoles to perhaps an 8-4 season and a decent bowl game destination. Second, in the Atlantic, we have the Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson had trouble all year moving the ball last season, barely winning several games they pulled out due in large measure to their stingy defensive unit. So will Clemson get it back together and reclaim their ACC dominance, or were those issues forecasting the future? I'm not sure if anyone is quite sure. We do want to note that both of their coordinators will be new this season. Tony Elliott is the new head coach over at Virginia. He was their offensive coordinator. And famed defensive coordinator Brent Venables is now over at Oklahoma. So Clemson's going to have both coordinators new this year. That's a big deal. Now, it seems the defense will once again be salty, with potential All-America players in defensive end Miles Murphy, defensive tackle Brian Breezy, and outside linebacker Trenton Simpson. Now on offense, DJ Uiagalelei is going to have to elevate his game, mentally included, to retain his quarterbacking spot. He is quite capable, but should questions arise, a large portion of the Tiger faithful will be calling for five-star freshman Cade Klubnik, who was impressive in the spring, with many folks talking about his accuracy. Boy, I wonder if that could be noteworthy. Now, Will Shipley is an honors candidate at running back, always a threat when he gets his hands on the ball. Wide receiver Joseph Ngata is another honors candidate, but the receiving corps does lack proven experience. Now, up front, the Tigers are strong, with potential All-America tackle Jordan McFadden and another honors candidate in Will Putnam anchoring the line. Now, Clemson could win them all, making all of the doubters look foolish, but they do not have the overall talent and consistency, particularly on offense, not to mention with a pair of new coordinators in our mind, to get it done. So we're going to go with 9-3 for Clemson. And second, in the Atlantic. Winning the Atlantic, we have the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Yes, NC State, with a favorable schedule and a veteran team returning, it is no stretch to strongly consider the Wolfpack as the favorite in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Talented and versatile dual-threat quarterback Devin Leary returns to direct the offense, and he will challenge for conference, if not national, honors. He threw for over 3,400 yards and 35 touchdowns last year. Now, keeping Leary healthy is important, and the line is up to the task. Now, the Wolfpack defense appears salty, the kind of unit that could be the difference for a team trying to emerge. The unit is led by an outstanding pair of national honors candidates at linebacker, Peyton Wilson on the inside and Drake Thomas on the outside. All ACC is just the beginning for these two guys. The secondary returns quite a bit of experience, including all of the starters, and that could be a very strong piece of the unit as well. Now, the season is on the line, with the Wolfpack hitting the road to Death Valley. Now, NC State had Clemson beat there in 2020, but missed a chip shot field goal and then lost in overtime. But the Pack did beat the Tigers in Raleigh last fall. They can win at Clemson. Then, they are home to improved Florida State, but they always play well against the Seminoles, and that seems too tall of an order for FSU anyhow. From there, the Pack are perhaps favored the rest of the way with the toughest game at home against Virginia Tech and Wake, and on the road at North Carolina. We find it against the odds for them to run the table, although they certainly could. And it seems they're a good candidate to stub their toes somewhere. So look out. This is a team that could win them all, but we're going to have to settle in at about 10-2 for these guys. Just don't know if they can make it through without dropping one somewhere. But watch out. So we have Miami facing North Carolina State in the ACC championship game. And we'll take the Wolfpack behind their nasty defense to prevail. Now, was last year a hiccup for Clemson? Is Florida State about to emerge? Can Wake Forest ride Hartman's arm? Or will a veteran Syracuse team make some noise? Leave us your comments on how you see things shaping up in the Atlantic Coast Conference. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can please feel welcome also to follow us on Facebook at The Color and Pageantry. Now, we would like to invite you to like the video, subscribe to the page. We'll have college football coverage throughout the year. But more importantly, we would like to thank you for watching. Now, the ACC needs a big year with realignment filling the air. And Louisville at Syracuse is going to open up conference play on Saturday. Let's get it on. See you next time.